All right, what is happening, you dripped out Droop? We've got some new card reveals that I'm excited to share with y'all. These are going to be coming out in the Ancient Roar and Future Flash sets over in Japan on October 27th, and they'll be coming to us on November 3rd in Paradox Rift. We don't know if we'll be definitely getting all of these cards, but it's likely we'll be getting most of them. Hopefully, the big one. First, we got this Toedscruel, 120 HP. Of course, it's at stage 1. It's got an ability. Cards in your opponent's discard pile can't be put into their hand through the effects of trainer cards and abilities they use. So a cool ability, makes you stop and think about it a little bit, but I think the longer you think about it and realize it's a stage 1 that has 120 HP, I don't think it's going to be doing quite enough. I thought about this one for a little bit here. I was sitting here thinking, what could you actually stop with this? And I honestly couldn't come up with anything. So if you guys have any ideas for the Toedscruel and what it would shut down, let me know in the comment section down below, because I'm drawing a blank on this one. But it's a cool ability nonetheless. I like to see more abilities like this where it makes you stop and think. As long as you're stopping and thinking, even if you can't come up with anything, I think that means they're doing a good job. We need to see more of that in the Pokemon TCG. I think I say that like every new card reveal / set release. I just want to stop and think more. This one I definitely thought about for a little bit, and I think there's some potential with this one. The Armarouge EX. Of course, we have a couple other Armarouges in the format, so you got some other Armarouge to pair with this potentially. But it's got that really powerful ability in the Crimson Armor. When this Pokemon is at full HP, it takes 80 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So it effectively has 340 HP on a Stage 1 EX Pokemon. That's pretty good. Like, that's really good. And then for 2 colorless energy, it does 40 damage plus 40 more damage for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon. Our fire Pokemon finally getting the Pokemon they need to combo with Magma Basin and the other Armarouge to actually make a fire deck. No, Charizard does not count as a fire deck. I don't know, but this could be a good step. That's a lot of HP to work with initially, and your damage is effectively uncapped with the Scorching Bazooka. 40 plus 40 for each fire attached to this Pokemon. You can accelerate energy into play with the Magma Basin. Of course, you're not going to be wanting to hit your Armarouge EX with that, but you can use the other Armarouge that moves energy from your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon, so you can load up an Armarouge EX out of nowhere, basically. And then if your opponent hits it, you could just retreat to another Armarouge, or you could retreat to an Armarouge and then play a Cheryl and heal this Armarouge. Of course, we do lose some of these cards in rotation, but pretty cool combo, at least until rotation hits. Armarouge EX, I think there's some potential here for sure. 340 HP on a stage 1. That's pretty good. That's VMAX levels, but you're only giving up 2 prize cards. Of course, if you're comboing this with the other Fire Armarouge that moves your energy around, they both evolve off the same Pokemon. They both evolve with the Charcadet. You can only play 4 Charcadet, so that could get a little awkward, I guess, trying to keep everything in play at the same time. But I think we could make this one work. I'm excited to try out the Armarouge EX for sure. There's actually quite a few interesting cards in this set. A little bit less interesting is the Golisopod EX. 270 HP. Colors 70 damage, and then for watercolors costs 170 damage. Discard 1 energy from this Pokemon if you do switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. So 170 hit and run. I mean, to be honest, it's not bad, but you have to discard that energy to be able to get the hit, and then you have to be able to get the run. So you got to play some form of energy acceleration. It's like maybe you could run it with like Flaffy, 170, then running to a Klefki seems okay, or a Mimikyu possibly. But overall, I'm not too impressed with the Golisopod EX, but could make a cool hit and run deck. We do have Alakazam in the format already that is effectively a hit and run, except it seems like it would require a little bit less to get going. Not only do you have to get the Golisopod in the active to then hit for 170 and then run to the bench, you got to do it again if you want to hit with the Golisopod again, unless they're just like KOing your Klefkis, but then you're doing 170 and they're knocking out your Klefki every turn. I don't think that's going to work out. I guess you can play Beach Court and hit and run between Mimikyus and Klefkis into the Golisopod, but then once again, you have to like load up energy on this thing every turn. Yeah, the Golisopod I don't think is quite cutting it. This also probably won't cut it, but I think this will make a pretty cool meme deck for sure. This is definitely going to be one of the ones I try out when it drops. Liza, I have no idea how to pronounce this Pokemon. Let me know if I got it right. Got an ability, cut for the job. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, move 2 water energy from one of your, or move 2 water energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. Reading is hard sometimes. I got to slow down and actually read the full words. So then it's got the attack for 3 colorless energy, 60 damage plus 20 damage for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. So we're doing 120 for 3 waters, and then when we get knocked out, we move 2 waters to the bench. It's a basic Pokemon as well, so we can kind of like just chain these over and over again and potentially build up a Veluza with a ton of energy in play at some point. We could get to a big Veluza and go for some big one-hit KOs. Potentially. It's a cool card. Could create a cool deck with it. Nice one-prize meme deck. I'm down to give it a shot. It's not competitive, but I don't know. It's kind of cool. This could be competitive, though. The Altaria EX, 260 HP. Got that humming heal. Once during your turn, you may heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. So we got like 4 of these things set up. Get a rigid band on them. They got effectively 290 HP, 260, reduce the damage they take by 30. And then we got the attack, the light pulse for the water metal, 140 during your opponent's next turn, prevent all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. So the attack isn't that powerful. I'm not gonna lie. 140, we're 2-hit KOing most things. Some of these EXs are got quite a bit of HP though, but the healing is what I'm looking at here. Get the rigid band on the Altaria. Like I said, we get the rigid band on there. We're taking reduced 30 damage. You get 4 of these set up, maybe 3. You could prize one. Healing 60 damage from all of our Pokemon in between turns. Okay, pretty cool. 1 retreat cost. We can hit and run. Not hit and run, but retreat between Altarias. Turn in, turn out. Switch one to the bench. Put Radiant Serena in there. That's another 20. We're healing. The damage and HP probably isn't quite there. But I don't know. I'm cooking a little bit with this one. I could see the potential, you know. Tank Altaria deck. We switch between our Altarias. Maybe make it work. The damage probably isn't quite there, though. We're a little bit short on the damage. Got the Maushold EX, 230 HP for 2 colorless energy. We do 120 damage and draw 2 cards. That's not great, but we got this ability on us. Solidarity. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon for each of your Tandemaus and Maushold, including Pokemon EX, in play. So we can kind of cap out. We're kind of capping out at 120 damage from that. But that's not bad for getting hit. The thing with this thing is you only have 230 HP. That's not tanky enough. The ability actually is like feels like it's probably pretty strong, to be honest. If like you get hit and you deal 120 damage back to the attacker, I don't know. That's kind of good. That'd be really good against Gardevoir, to be honest. And then, but only doing 120 damage. The 2-card draw is nice. It does work with double turbo as well. So you get a double turbo on here. Only dealing 100 damage at that point. We are drawing the 2 cards, which is nice. That's pretty good. Get a rigid band on here. We're looking at effectively 260 HP. Gotta have this thing survive more than 1 turn. It does have that free retreat cost as well, so we can kind of switch between them and like send one to the bench, maybe heal it, like with like Radiant Serena. Gets Radiant Serena in there. 1 goes up, it takes a hit. We go to a new one. It takes a hit. We run between them. Maybe it's got the free retreat that the Altaria definitely wishes it has. That's for sure. Next up, we've got the Counter Catcher. Now, this is the big card that got revealed. Counter Catcher. We've seen it before. Now we're seeing it again. And it was a crazy powerful card when it was a card before. It never felt truly broken, but it was a really cool combo card that you could put in a lot of decks to make really, really big plays. I think the #1 deck that I loved playing it back in the day was Golisopod or Zoroark Golisopod, where you could do crazy plays where you would like end your opponent and then Counter Catcher up their artillery or whatever their draw power was. You'd knock that out. You also put them down to like a 1-card hand off the end, and you just can like make huge comebacks in the game. And you can also make plays where you could try to avoid your opponent being able to use Counter Catcher, so you take a little bit longer before you start drawing too many of your prize cards, set yourself up a little bit better, or even not draw prize cards, so you could make those big Counter Catcher plays happen on your next turn. So I think it adds a lot of depth to the game to have a card like this in it, and the comeback potential is really getting real, to be honest. We got Iono, we have Reversal Energy, we're getting Counter Catcher. I'm definitely loving it. I'm super excited for the Counter Catcher to make a comeback, and the future of gameplay is looking bright for the Pokemon TCG, as long as we don't get any truly broken cards like those Iron Hands. Maybe. I'm not saying it's broken. I'm saying it could be. Maybe. This card I was scared of when I first saw it. I didn't read it, but I saw the image, and I was like, that is definitely a substitute doll, whatever card for sure. But thankfully, it is not quite as good as the ones we've seen in the past. It does have 120 HP, but if this card is in your hand when you are setting up to play, you may put it face down and play as if it were a 120 HP colorless basic Pokemon. You can't play it at any other time, so you can only put this in play during setup. Thank goodness. I was really scared when I saw this card. I was like, there's so many crazy things you can do with this, and it's got 120 HP. If it was the Robosub all over again, I think we'd be in trouble. Or the doll. What is it called? Something doll? I don't remember. Lily's Pokédoll? Is that what it is? I think that's what it is, right? And then it has this other effects. Anytime during your turn, you may discard this card from play. This card can't retreat or be affected by a special condition. If it is knocked out, your opponent doesn't take any prize cards. So that's like the important part. It's like a trainer card you put in play as effectively a basic Pokemon, but if it gets knocked out, your opponent doesn't draw prize cards. But like I said, you can only put it in play during setup. And that's it. So it's not going to be good. Thank goodness. Because, yeah, I was kind of scared of a Robosub, Lily's Pokédoll happening again. Those were pretty good. Those were really good cards. This, thankfully, is Snorlax doll. This thing sucks. This thing's really bad. But Counter Catcher, really, really good. I'm excited for Counter Catcher. Let me know what you all think about these cards in the comment section down below. What are some cool combos you are already excited to try out with them? Like I said, I'm just kind of excited for the gameplay that Counter Catcher brings. It just, yeah, I don't know. I guess a little bit of nostalgia feels, maybe a little bit. Do you guys think Counter Catcher is going to be too much? Iono, Reversal Energy, Counter Catcher is winning in Pokemon become losing in Pokemon, and has losing become winning? Where's the true advantage at? Do we want to even draw these prize cards anymore, or should we just draw past until one of us decks out? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'll catch y'all in the next video.